Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Venom 3 movie, which is going to supposedly be the last solo movie of the Venom franchise on Sony. It will be called Venom: The Last Dance. I totally disagree with this decision, especially since all the films that Sony has produced other than Venom have sucked. The Madam Web film sucked. We all know that. Morbius, I thought, was an okay film, but it was marketed completely wrong and edited poorly, by the way. But not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. It was a decent movie, but again, it was mismarketed. It should have been marketed as a horror movie if you were going to go in those themes. But it didn't. They marketed it as a comic book movie. I know it is a comic book character, but they should have marketed it as a horror movie because that was literally what it was. If you watch that film, it was a horror film. It was not a comic book movie. That was how they made it. They totally mismanaged it. Anyways. Venom 3, I don't understand, man. I don't understand Sony. I really don't. Look, they got a good franchise in Venom. Without Spider-Man, might I add. People said that wouldn't work. I was one of the fewest people that said that Venom would work without Spider-Man. I said it. I said it before Venom 3. Go back to some of my original films from a couple back in 2018. I think it was even before 2018 when they first announced it. They had first announced it in 2017. I was making YouTube videos about this. I thought the film could work without Spider-Man. I said it could work, and I had full confidence in Tom Hardy to make it work. So I was one of the fewest people on YouTube that was saying that this was going to work without Spider-Man. And people could not believe it at the time. And then the positive reaction from Venom, despite the critics being douches on the film, came in, and the money came in, and Venom did great. It did work. And I'm proud of that. The second film was also a great film, I thought. The only thing I hate about Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, besides the cringe title, because they could have just been called Maximum Carnage, but the only thing that I didn't like about it, and I've talked about this, is that I did not like that stupid random doctor survived, and that Anne, the girlfriend of Eddie Brock, ended up just ending ties with Eddie Brock at the end of the movie. I did not like that. I did not like how they set that up, because the first movie implied at the end, when they did the whole thing with Stan Lee and stuff like that, the cameo with Stan Lee, R.I.P. to Stan Lee, by the way. But when they did that cutscene, it was heavily implied that Eddie Brock and Anne had got back together. And then when we get to the next movie, it's like, oh, that was just completely ignored, and that now she was back with the doctor. And in any other movie, that doctor would have been killed. Okay, there was no reason for that doctor to live. He had no reason. He's just a random character that they created. He's not even from the comic books. Okay, they just created him. Okay, just to be there, just to kind of move the plot along for the first film. So when he's in the second film, it was just okay, he's Eddie Brock's doctor, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. He's Eddie Brock's doctor. He's Eddie Brock's doctor, and that's all he is. And this guy didn't get killed off. I was like, why? That was any other film, character like that would have gotten killed off. Okay, because he was there specifically in the first film to kind of spread the plot along, to get Venom, to get Eddie Brock where he needed to be, because Eddie Brock, obviously people thought he was crazy or whatever, and not, with the whole Venom thing. So that was literally the only reason why that doctor was around. So by the end of the second film, they didn't need him anymore. Carnage could have literally killed him during that whole whole debacle thing that was going on. At the end of that last boss fight. That was what I thought was going to happen. Because then Eddie Brock and Anne could get back together at the end of the movie. And they didn't do that. I expect, because Anne's actor is supposed to be in the third film, I expect that's going to happen this time around. Because if it doesn't happen this time around, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Because there's no reason for this doctor to be in this plot. There's no, his reason for being in this film makes no sense. He was there just to help the plot along for the first film. I was like, why is he in this still? That was my biggest complaint about Let There Be Carnage. I was like, why are these two not getting back together? This is just so stupid. You know what I'm saying? Where the film ended in the first film, it heavily implied that Anne is still, in love with Eddie Brock. I'm like, and then they just, are like, yeah, we gotta move on at the end of the second film. It's like, oh, yeah, we just gotta move on, and you gotta let us go because, Venom and Eddie Brock are, bros or whatever, I'm like, no, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. So that's my whole thing that needs to be addressed in the third film. Obviously the main villain of Venom 3 is going to be Toxic, which did that detective Peter, who was in the second film. That's going to lead to Toxic. And we'll see where that goes. But, I really think Venom needs... I really think that they need to put Spider-Man in some capacity in this film, whether it be Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland. He saw Tom Holland in the MCU, so how, are you not going to, not mention that in the third film? Again, this is supposed to be, after this film, it's supposed to be solo appearances or here and there cameos. Now, whether or not he is put back into the MCU or there is a adjacent version of Tom Holland's Venom in the MCU already, that would basically, because that spec of his, was left in the MCU. It's heavily implied that the Tom Holland Spider-Man is going to have, similar to Tobey Maguire with the whole Venom symbiote that's going to be in there. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, or how different it will be, because, again, it's in the MCU, but is it going to be the same way as it is in the Sony universe, where Venom is, kind of a two-way streak, thing, or if it's just going to be a complete suit, like it was in the, in the Tobey Maguire universe. A Spider-Man. I don't know what they're planning on this, but I don't think Tom Holland is going to be in Venom 3. He was supposed to be in the second one, but obviously, or actually, no, I'm sorry, not the second one, the first one, wasn't it? He was supposed to be in the first one or the second one, because they didn't have a contract or some crap like that, but then that ended up changing because... no, it wasn't in the first one. He was going to be in the second one. They couldn't put him in the first one, but they could have put him in the second one because the contract had ended. But then they got the new contract, so then they scrapped those plans, which I thought was a good thing, because I didn't think you should just put... I was okay with, again, I was on board with him not being in the film right from the beginning, but from a creative storyline perspective, Tom Holland Spider-Man just randomly showing up in the second film wouldn't have made any sense. There had to have been a creative reason for them to be there, and it sounded like that Sony was just gonna slap him in there, which wouldn't have made creative sense. So I'm kind of glad that didn't happen, because if you're gonna put Spider-Man in a Venom film, it has to make sense. You can't just like slap him in there just because of the whole rights thing and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's just gonna look stupid. So Spider-Man has to be creatively put in there where it makes sense. And again, Venom's universe is different, so unless, like, my whole theory is possibly that like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, if when they went to different universes, maybe he didn't get actually sent back to his universe, but he goes to, Venom's universe, and that's where they meet. Even even Tobey Maguire's one, but Andrew Garfield's one probably makes the most sense because Tobey Maguire already confronted Venom before in his universe, and Andrew Garfield never did. So that would be like the only one I think that. But again, I don't know, because I remember that Andrew Garfield like turned down like a film, a solo film with Sony or whatever. So I don't know if that's changed or not, but man, they got to do something. Whether Tom Holland goes to his universe, or like something's got to happen, or unless they're using their own Venom. But again, I don't want to. I heard like a 10-year-old Spider-Man. Like, obviously that doesn't make any sense, because he's too young. But I'm like, man, I just don't know, man. I just think with the third Venom film, like, I just don't understand why they're not gonna do a fourth film. Like, you make so much money out of this, and you haven't made money on any of these other ones. Why would you not make a fourth one? Like, there's so many things they can do with a fourth one too. There's so many different creative things you can do. Since Venom doesn't necessarily need Spider-Man in this film, there's a lot of different creative things, whether you want to put Spider-Man in there or not. But he still doesn't have, obviously, the spider chest because he never met Spider-Man. Well, I mean, he's seen Spider-Man, but he hasn't actually come across him yet. So, he's seen him on the TV set, So, my thing with this is there's gotta be a lot of things they're addressing this year for Venom when it comes out this October. Number one, they got to address the Anne thing and the doctor thing, because that shit's got to be solved. Like, Eddie Brock's got to get with Anne at the end of the movie, I think. So Doctor's got to get killed off. Should have been killed off in the second film, in my opinion. Number two, they have to creatively address how Spider-Man's going to be in this, if he is. And what's going to happen to Tom Holland's character going forward with Venom. Whether he's in the MCU or he's going to probably appear in Secret Wars for the MCU, but whenever that film happens. But, in terms of like, other cameos for other movies, I don't know what other movies they can do. Madam Web didn't work. Morbius didn't work. I don't exactly know if any of these other projects that they're trying to propose are going to work. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think they should do a Black Cat movie, and they should have Emily Roberts, who was, for whatever reason, playing some Peter Parker mom, which was just such a waste. You just scrap that whole movie. Like, just pretend that movie didn't exist. Like, I hope they just, like, ignore that film. Like anything that happened in that film, because I don't even want to know what happened in the film. I've heard some of the stuff that happened in that film. They were ripping off Terminator and stuff like that. I just want them to just ignore that film altogether. Just ignore that film altogether. Just pretend it never existed. And just go on with, just go on with a Black Cat movie with Emily Roberts as Black Cat. Like, that's what I would do, because that film, just no. That's just no. Just to get rid of that film, just scrap it all together. They already scrapped some stuff in that movie anyways. And just have Emily Roberts play Black Cat. Everyone wanted Emily Roberts to be Black Cat. Like, that was one of the fantasy like castings for Black Cat. Like, I would do a Black Cat movie. Enough of this bullshit. Enough of this random characters that nobody knows about that they're trying to do. You got to do characters that people know and actually write them pretty good. Venom was written, I thought, very good and done very good, despite the whole doctor thing. That was really, like I said, that was the only thing I didn't like about that second film, was the doctor didn't die, and that somehow Anne didn't get with Eddie Brock at the end. Like, it makes the most sense. So that's my whole thing. That's what they got addressed. Those are the things they got addressed in Venom 3. And then after that, who knows what they're going to do at that point with Venom. I really hope they do more with Venom. I'm not happy that they're not doing more solo films after this. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, if you like this video and my videos. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for the latest contents. Thank you. And that's about it. I am the Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace.